Welcome back to UnWatchable. It has been a while, a very long time actually, almost 4 weeks since I last posted. I deeply apologize about that. It has been just a crazy month of December. I have been doing things left and right, and I have not had a lot of time to myself lately. I've had to do 1,000 things left and right, but we are back and better than ever for episode 8. And we got a lot to discuss in today's video. We're going to be discussing the Mets, the Jets, and the Devils. I wanted to cover the Knicks, but we don't have enough time for that today, sadly. I will cover the Knicks in a separate video. I'll probably do it Friday or Saturday, depending on what I feel like. But stay tuned for that. But we got a lot to discuss today. The three teams that, well, drive me insane. And most notably being the Mets and the Devils. The Jets I've given up on. But we're going to start off with the Mets. The most recent news, actually. Jeff McNiel is gone. Traded to the Oakland Athletics for a bag of apples. Yes, indeed, a bag of apples. The Mets are sending McNiel to not even the Oakland Athletics anymore, the Sacramento A's. He's going to be traded there. They are also sending the $5.75 million remaining on his contract, so we don't have to worry about that buyout after the 26th season because, well, he's not a Met anymore. He's a athletic, which he seems like the type of player that would be an athletic. Mets are getting a 17-year-old rookie ball pitcher that joined the A's organization earlier in 2025. This pitcher, Yordan Rodriguez, pitched in 8 games for the DSLAs, posting a 2.93 ERA, 20 Ks, and 15 innings pitched. So, not bad. I mean, I think the Mets were so desperate to get rid of Jeff McNiel that they would have taken a literal bag of apples. I'm not even joking. They would have taken a literal bag of apples. Now, I did a video on UnWatchable when Brandon Nimmo got traded, and I was talking about David Stearns and the press conference that he did when he traded Nimmo to the Rangers to get Marcus Semien. That Jeff McNiel, using his utility, because Jeff McNiel was a good utility player, his being able to play second, being able to play third, left, right, good utility guy. I'm not, taking that away from him. Bad attitude, but we're going to get that later. He said Jeff McNiel, we're maybe going to have him play first base. We might have him play some left field. That is clearly out the window. So David Stearns clearly, I think, had this planned for ever since the last day of the season. Obviously, he had no intention of bringing back Pete Alonso, and he clearly did not have any interest in bringing back Edwin Diaz. I did videos on those too. And, well, trading away Brandon Nimmo, the longest tenured Met. And when he was gone, Jeff McNiel became the longest tenured Met. And, well, he's gone. So the Mets have no tenured players. I think now the last one is David Peterson. I'm not 100% sure, but I think it's Peterson. But I wouldn't be surprised if David Peterson gets traded. And if he does, well, that's the David Stearns motto. Now, when this trade first broke out, I did a video. It was on Instagram for loyal losers, and I just said I agree with David Stearns on this deal. And here's why I agree with David Stearns. Now, Jeff McNiel, he had a good Mets career. I'm not gonna lie, he had a good Mets career. The batting title that he won in 22 was great, and that season alone in 22, fantastic for him. In my opinion, fantastic. His ability to play second, his ability to play left, play right when we needed it. He was there. But after that season, when they got rid of the shift, and everyone else saying it, and I'm starting to see it too. I went back and watched both highlights of McNiel from the difference between 22, 23, and 24. When they got rid of the shift in 23, he became a horrible player. I shouldn't say horrible. He became a below average infielder. And, well, it progressively got worse for him as he we saw in center field with the Phillies game, he couldn't track balls. Left field was a mess for him. Playing the infield was a mess. He cost the Mets some big games, most notably one against the Nationals, an error that went right underneath his glove, and that allowed a runner to score away from first base. That was the infamous triple play. That wasn't actually a triple play. Very early, I believe in April, maybe May. April or May, somewhere in that range. But he's gone. I always knew McNiel for his heart, his hustle, and, well, his attitude. He had an attitude that, well, you could see from the Great Wall of China is how I'm going to put it. Because when he strikes out, he throws the bat, he throws the helmet, just curses at everything. We saw that with him getting ejected against the Texas Rangers, actually. He was struck out against DeGrom. He's just, I mean, the pitch was a strike. I'm not even going to lie. McNiel got thrown out. And even, this goes even prior. This goes back to 2020 to 19 to 18 with his first year. He just, bad attitude. Obviously, good hustle, good heart. He was a good ball player. I'm not taking that away from him. But you had a feeling that this trade was coming. You just knew something was going to happen. You knew the Mets were not going to keep him. They got rid of this core for a reason, and this is apparently the rebuild that David Stearns wants to call. I was actually talking to a couple of my guys at work today. Is this Francisco Lindor running the show? Now, what do I mean by that? Well, as we all know, Lindor and McNiel did not get along. There was that raccoon rat incident in 21 where Lindor ended up choking McNiel, trying to get freaky with him. That's a joke, by the way. Getting freaky with them in the tunnel to the clubhouse. And then we don't know how the relationship was after that year, but we obviously knew back then that it was not good between them. And then come 25, clearly still wasn't good. Now, I'm not saying these players got to be best friends. They got to kiss each other's ass. They got to have barbecues on the weekends. They got to drink 14 beers with each other. No. You guys don't have to get along. Just win a game. That's all we're asking you to at the end of the day. Just win a baseball game, please. So, McNiel gets dealt. Before I say that McNiel gets dealt, obviously in 25, there was that all out between him and Lindor. And why I say Lindor's running the show is, well, last year Lindor went to Steve Cohen and said, you got to keep Alonso. Now, Alonso, 24, he did have a down year, but still was the best player on the team, in my opinion. Just people are going to disagree, and that's fine. He said you got to keep Alonso. He was acting like a captain. This year, I did not see Lindor acting like a captain because after the season, I feel like if he was a captain, he would have spoke down with. Now, again, I'm not saying the players run the ball club. I'm not saying that, but you would think he would have, something to. Oh, you got to keep Pete. You got to keep Edwin. Stuff like that. I would have liked to see that out of him. Was that going to happen? Probably not. And also the fact that Lindor posted something on Instagram after McNiel got traded, actually. It was 26 season loading, which I honestly thought was funny. It might have been a troll. I mean, listen, I don't know. I thought it was hilarious. As soon as McNiel gets traded, he posts that. Excuse me. But, listen, McNiel, the locker room cancer, as everyone described him as, and the bad attitude, is gone. He's going to the Oakland A's and, Sacramento Athletics, if you really want to get specific. But after that batting title year, McNiel went downhill. And like I said, that came about after they banned the shift. He just, didn't look right. And like I said, I went back and watched the old highlights of him, and he just didn't look right in the infield. He didn't look right in the outfield. The hitting-wise was bad, and he would almost take it out on, everyone else. I bounced into a double play in the first inning. I'm going to spike my helmet till it goes into the crowd. I'm not saying he did that, but he obviously did throw his helmet. Didn't end up in the stands, but you get what I'm saying. Throws the bat, throws the glove, throws everything. Started that thing with Rhys Hoskins in 24 against the Brewers, where the Mets were hilariously swept in that series on the opening week, which was pretty funny. And then the team went on the run. Yippee-ki-yay, but that's in the past now. But McNiel, have fun. You're done. Let's get on this Yordan Rodriguez kid. Like I said, he looks promising. Only 17 years old. Obviously going to be a while for him. I think he's going to be traded. I seriously think he's going to be traded. Now, do we know he's going to be traded? No. But I think he's going to be traded just because of the David Stearns motto. I think he's going to trade the prospect for somebody else. And it might not be a bad thing, but maybe this Yordan Rodriguez kid is good. Maybe we see him, in the Mets minor league system. Maybe there's some reason that he's up on the spring training team and he's throwing innings. I don't know. We will see. But I will say this kid looks very promising, I will say. Now, the Mets need to fill a lot of holes. And, well, what do I mean by that? Who is playing left field? Who's the fourth outfielder? Because right now, as it stands, the outfield is looking like Soto, Carson Bench maybe Jet Williams, Tyrone Taylor, and we don't know who's playing left field. Some people have said, I even said it, but I said it jokingly, Jared Young could be an option. I don't know how I feel about that. Like I said, he's probably going to get DFA'd before the season starts. But is Carson Bench or Jet Williams really the guy you want in the outfield right now. Like I said, they could be the next great prospects ever. But we're going to see how the spring training goes out. I personally would not want them just because I don't think they're ready yet. Now, I'm not saying they're not good. I'm just saying I think they need a little more time. But seriously, who's playing left field? Who's going to be the fourth outfielder? Well, that's going to be another thing because you already lost Nimmo. You lost McNeil. You lost Alonso. Those are some big holes you got to fill at first base. You got to fill in left field. You got to fill in center field too because Tyrone Taylor is not an everyday player. He can play 2 out of the 3, 1 out of the 3. He can come in as a defensive replacement, all that. But other than that, he's not an everyday starter. Now, I love Tyrone, but he can't play every day. Like I said, 1 or 2 out of the 3 are a late inning switch, but I don't know, and that's nothing a knock on Tyrone or anything. I love him, but oh boy, it's just going to be very interesting to see the way the Mets go. I don't think they're getting Cody Bellinger. I don't think they're getting Kyle Tucker. I don't think they're getting anybody, to be honest with you. I mean, some people have said, oh yeah, they're going to go after Kyle Tucker. I disagree, and here's why. Look at these contracts they've handed out, as my notes are all folded up, so excuse me, but here we go. Jorge Polanco got a 2-year deal and a $40 million deal. This pretty much was supposed to replace Pete Alonso, but if you're kind of looking at it, it almost looks like a replacement for Brandon Nimmo. Jorge Polanco is going to make $20 million in 2026. If he stays here for 27, he's going to make another $20 million. $40 million a year. There you go. Look at that math I just did. Yippee-ki-yay. Marcus Semien, who was in that trade with Brandon Nimmo, a decline hitting second baseman, but a very good defensive second baseman. So there's your second baseman, which some people say, oh, yeah, but you can have Polanco at second base. You could, but are you really going to start Polanco over Semien? Are you really going to start him right there? I would rather have Semien over Polanco. But now, yet again, these two guys are terrific ball players, but I'd rather have Semien over Polanco. People are saying that Polanco's going to play first base. Well, there's one little problem I have with that. Polanco's played 1 career game at first base. 1 career game at first base. That is a lot. That is not a lot at all. Now, obviously, it is a very long offseason for him to learn first base, but I'd rather see my guy Alonso there. I really would. Because Jorge Polanco, while he had a great year with the Mariners last year, is nowhere near the powerhouse hitting Pete Alonso is, where he has 40 home runs and 130 RBIs. That's not something you replace overnight. Same thing with this Devin Williams 3-year deal. That's not a replacement for Edwin Diaz in my eyes. And like I said before, as soon as they signed Devin Williams, that Diaz was not going to come back. That was it for him right there. I told you. I said it right there that he was going to go right to the Dodgers, and look at that. He went there for $3 million more. And the Mets couldn't match that offer. The Mets didn't even throw an offer at Pete Alonso. They were like, we don't trust you. You're not even good enough for us to make an offer at you. Which is the David Stearns motto. Dry throat, excuse me. Also, you got this Luke Weaver deal. 2 years, $22 million. Is this the new New York Yankees team? I'm just throwing that out there because it just looks like another Yankees team, to be honest with you. Now, I'm not saying that Luke Weaver's not a bad signing or anything like that. I think it's a good signing. Do I think Polanco and Weaver stay the 2 years? I don't think so. I don't even think Semien stays 3 years with us. And I don't even think Williams stays 2 years with us. I think half these players are going to get traded or something's going to happen. But I guess the plan for the Mets is either to use Weaver as a setup man for Williams or just to arm out of the bullpen. Now, looking at Weaver's stats last year with the Yankees, I don't have it off the top of my head, and my other laptop happens to be down. Usually I'd have it up, but I don't today, so sadly. All I know is he had a good first half of the season, then the second half, it was bad. He collapsed. It was brutal. But we'll see what happens with this. Like I said, it's a very long offseason, but we are heading into January. And oh my God, I just realized this is the last episode of 25. Wow, look at that. So as I'm recording this on December 30th, 2025, this will be the last episode in 25. That's crazy because I have no intentions of doing a video tomorrow on the 31st. I have a lot of stuff to do. Like I said, incredibly busy. So that's all the Mets updates I got. It's just a very long offseason, like I said. Let's go in to the New York Jets, who have 3 wins this year. And what a competitive team they are, guys. Oh, yes, the competitiveness of the New York Jets. I'm kidding, guys. They suck. They are just horrible. Aaron Glenn is not the right coach. Woody Johnson, wrong owner. I've said that since day one. Aaron Glenn needs to go after this year. I said in the beginning of the year, this is the wrong coach. This is not the guy that's going to get us into the playoffs. We don't even have 5 wins. We don't have a quarterback. Justin Fields sucked this year. Tyrod Taylor is a solid backup, and he's able to do all the stuff that Fields couldn't do, is injured. So that means we have this third-string, undrafted rookie, Brady Cook, who looks promising, but has nobody to throw to. For instance, in the past 2 weeks right now, and I'm just bringing up the past 2 weeks, the Jets have only scored 16 points. 1 touchdown in 2 games. That is brutal. Now, I'm not saying that this whole season has been brutal. This whole season has been... I haven't even watched a Jets game in so long. That's how bad they are. Now, I'm going to say this. I think the Giants, and I'm not a Giants fan, I think the Giants got a brighter future than the Jets. They got Jackson Dart. He's a dog. He's a stud. They got that Scattaboo kid. As long as those 2 guys stay healthy, you're solid. Get rid of Russell Wilson, though. He's bad. But for the Jets, oh my God, this is horrible. I don't see a winning team. And they might not be in New Jersey to do it. They might move to Manchester, become the Manchester Jets. I don't know. I don't see what's going on. Woody Johnson, you've got to hire the Mike Tomlin type of coach. But Woody Johnson does not want to do that. He wants to... How do I put this? He wants to hire a small market coach like Aaron Glenn. And again, I'm not knocking Aaron. He's a great player for the Jets. Fantastic. I am not putting anything against Aaron Glenn. He's a bad coach, but player-wise, fantastic. Woody Johnson wants to hire a coach with not a lot of coaching experience, pretty much no experience, to be honest with you. So when the Jets win, he's like, look what I did. Look what I did. Look what I did. That's kind of what David Stearns is doing right now with the Mets. He's putting together a team that he believes is going to win with these 2-year, 3-year contracts and in these projects. And when they win, which I'll be honest with you, I hope this team doesn't win. The Mets. I hope they don't win. When the Mets win, he's going to be like, oh, look what I did. Shut up, David Stearns, please. Harvard education. Bagging fries for him. But back to the Jets. That is what Woody Johnson is basically doing. He wants to just hire a small coach like Aaron Glenn or some other random dude. And so when the Jets win, he just gets all the praise. Instead of like the Mike Tomlin type of coach or Bill Belichick type of coach. Before he went to college, Bill Belichick. Like Patriots Bill Belichick. He doesn't want to hire a coach like that. He wants to take all the credit possible. And that's not going to happen. Because right now, I'll be honest with you, this situation for the Jets is getting worse and worse. Breece Hall, while he had 1,000 yards this year, that's fantastic. This team is going nowhere, though. I think Breece Hall gets traded at the end of this year. I truly believe that. I don't see him coming back. I think that's it for him. He wanted to get dealt at the deadline. That didn't happen. And also, by the way, Sauce Gardner, man, oh my God, this got to be one of the worst trades ever. The Colts have missed the playoffs. And Sauce Gardner with the Jets was 1-7. I saw something on Instagram. 1-7 with the Jets, 1-7 with the Colts. That is brutal. So he went from a losing team to a winning ball club just to not make the playoffs. That's pretty funny in my book. Which, by the way, I got to remember to wipe my ass with Sauce Gardner's shirt next time I go take a shit. But Sauce Gardner, good luck. But like I said, I'm worried for the Jets. I'm worried for the Jets. It doesn't seem like anything's going to happen. Like I said, everyone, I want this Mendoza kid. I really want him. But here's my thought, though. The Jets are notorious for ruining quarterbacks. Look at what they did to Geno. Look what they did to Sam Darnold. Look what they did to all these quarterbacks. And now they're phenomenal. Now, Geno Smith, he's on a losing team. But Sam Darnold, phenomenal. Zach Wilson, well, he's on a better team than the Jets. And he was on the Broncos last year, so he knows what it's like to win. Aaron Rodgers, I mean, he stuck it to the Jets. I mean, Jesus, look at that. Jets are just notorious for ruining quarterbacks. So let's say, for instance, you draft Mendoza. What's the quarterback you're getting rid of? Are you getting rid of Fields? Are you getting rid of Taylor? Are you getting rid of Cook? Who are you going to get rid of? I think, in my opinion, they just get rid of Justin Fields. They buy him out, and they say, hey, that's it, you're done. Almost knocked over my cup on the floor. Say, yeah, that's it, you're done. But, like I said, we'll see what happens. Sunday, though, me and Patrick will be doing a wrap of the embarrassing 2025 season, which was the Jets year. So stay tuned for that. That will be a live episode on Loyal Losers. But it is what a miserable year for the Jets. So that's all I got for them. Let's move on to my favorite hockey team and the team that's been killing my soul lately, the New Jersey Devils. Now, I had high hopes for this team this year. I really did. After that Hurricanes elimination loss last year, I thought to myself, this is going to be a different Devils team. But I got slapped in the face with that thought because this isn't the same Devils team that got eliminated by the Hurricanes last year. And, well, went to the Devils-Islanders game, me and Patty, at UBS Arena. And the Devils, I'm not going to lie, they look like the best hockey team on that ice. They looked like the best team. They looked like a team that was going to win. They go up 1-0 until the second period, until Jacob Markstrom thinks that he's a fourth defenseman. Comes out of his crease, plays it into some Islander dude. It might have been Emil Heineman. Played it into him. Wide open net, they score. That is not worth the extension that we gave Jacob Markstrom. I would not have extended him. I would have kept Akira Schmidt, because Akira Schmidt, man, he was my guy. You know, he made a lot of clutch games for us. But by the way, also, the Devils have this funny thing where they lose to former goaltenders by far. I saw a stat that said they're 2-7 against Scott Wedgwood. Of all time, I'm not saying this year. Of all time, they're 2-7 against Scott Wedgwood. You know how many times Scott Wedgwood was here as the Devils, traded, back with the Devils, traded, back with the Devils, and now he's owning the Devils, which, I mean, listen, Scotty Wedgwood, good for you, man. I wish you were still on this team. You'd be better than Jacob Markstrom. And then in the third period, 1:15 to go, Markstrom gives up a tapper. And by then, the game is over. I knew the Devils weren't going to come back. So I waited till the final, I want to say 20 seconds. And while the Devils are in the Islanders' end with 6 attackers, just passing the puck around left and right, not taking a shot. Luke Hughes has the puck roll off his stick and go into the corner. The Islanders pin the Devils against the boards. The clock's running down. I stood up, and I'm just going to be honest with you. I stood up, I took off my jersey, and I started walking towards the train. Because that was it. I knew the Devils weren't going to win that game. They have another game against the Islanders on the 6th or something, on a Tuesday. They're not going to win that game either. They're going to go 0-3. They're going to go 0-3 against the New York Islanders this year. This Devils team is not going to make the playoffs this year because you can't have a playoff team when you have a goaltender thinking that he's a third-line defenseman. You also can't win with a team who has a guy like Jack Hughes who is never on the ice. Jack Hughes is literally made out of paper. Luke Hughes, while he's got potential, is just too young, and he's just not worth it. He's just not worth it. And the Devils claim that there's no salary room at all. Well, this is what happens when you have Luke, Jack, and Jacob Markstrom. Which, by the way, like I said, why did we extend Jacob Markstrom? Was he really worth that money? Nah, yes. Last year he was good. But right now, as it sits, Jake Allen's got to be getting more of the starts right now. Which, by the way, the Devils are playing the Maple Leafs, and they just started right now. Sorry, I just moved away from the microphone. My apologies. But there was this funny stat, actually, the game just started, so scary as that is. Oh, how about this? In the last 365 days, the New Jersey Devils are 32nd in the NHL in 5v5 goals. 32nd, dead last. This is through Devils Insiders, by the way. That is bad. That is lower than low. That is as low as you could possibly be. 32nd. That's lower than the Buffalo Sabres. That's low. Which, by the way, I think the Sabres have already beat us twice this year. It's just hilarious how good the Devils start out and then how bad they are towards the middle and end of the year. It's just funny. But like I said, as much as I want the Devils to make the playoffs this year, it's just not going to happen. It's not going to happen. And as I'm recording this right now, Devils and Maple Leafs, as they're in the first, they're not going to win this game. If they win, good. If they don't win, I won't be surprised. But obviously I want the Devils to win. But Is it going to happen? Most likely not. But like I said, we will see what happens. That is the end of this video, guys. Please enjoy the new year. Have a happy new year. Be safe. Don't drink and drive. Enjoy it. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.